guys, welcome to day 15 of 31 days of Halloween. We are literally halfway through this. Like, that's absolutely insane. I cannot believe that I have consistently posted a video and this many videos in this short amount of time. I really hope that you guys have been enjoying it because I've been having so much fun talking to you guys every single day. It's been really great. But I am not going to talk too long at the beginning of this, but this video is going to be ParanorMail episode 24. If you do not know what ParanorMail is and you think that I'm just saying paranormal wrong, like a lot of you guys do, ParanorMail is a series that I started on my channel where I read your guys' paranormal experiences that you send to my P.O. box. And I know there's a lot of you guys that really like the series, and there's also a lot of letters that I have not read on camera. So I'm going to read a couple of those in today's video, and I have this basket full of them, so I'm literally going to randomly grab one because I don't know what came when. We're just gonna do like this surprise bag thing, and we're just gonna reach in and grab one and see what happens. So the first letter that I'm gonna be reading in today's episode is from Nikki. My name is Nikki, I'm 19, and I've lived in Indianapolis, Indiana for the past 10 years or so. Throughout my time here, I've lived in 5 different places, 3 apartments, and 2 houses. My paranormal experiences start when I was about 12 and take place mostly in my first home, a 2-story, 4-bedroom house in a suburb neighborhood. I moved into my first home with my mom, dad, and younger brother when I was about 10. The first few years, they were great. Nothing unusual happened. Might I mention here that my mom, younger brother, and I are all total believers in everything paranormal, while my father was a skeptic. A couple of months after my 12th birthday, things started to get a little weird. Unexplainable noise and footsteps, things getting misplaced, all the typical ghostly activity. However, the real stuff starts around my 13th birthday. My mother, grandma, and I went to see our medium, Margot. She read our tarot cards and helped me through a lot of emotional stuff that I was beginning to go through. A day or so after the meeting with Margot, my mom received an unexpected email from her. She told us that there was something red in the attic that needed to be found immediately. I should mention here that we had 2 attics at this house, one above the closet of my younger brother's room and one above the garage. My mom and I grabbed our yellow ladder and decided to investigate since we were both amateur ghost hunters. She went up into the attic above the garage, crawled inside, and looked around while I held the ladder steady. She came back down and found nothing. We ventured upstairs and into the second attic, and as soon as we moved back the drywall that covered the entry to the attic, my mom and I froze. There was an eerie gust of wind, followed by an instant heavy feeling that never really left the room. It felt like something was sitting behind my sternum. My mom, despite being so frightened, crawled up inside the attic, looked around, and again came down with nothing. We were let down, but brushed it off and went on with our lives. Who knows what little things my young brain forgot between then and now, but the first real thing that I remember happening after that day really shook me up. It was in the early hours of the morning, maybe 3 or 4, and everyone in my house was asleep. I climbed out of my bed to use the restroom, dazed and foggy considering I wasn't fully awake. I ventured to the bathroom that was less than 8 feet from my door, and I used the toilet with the door wide open as I didn't want to turn the lights on, but I needed to see. Out of the bathroom door, I could see directly into my younger brother's room where the attic entry is. His door was also open, and I could see his little feet sticking out from underneath the blanket at the foot of his bed. However, that wasn't all I saw. A few inches from his toes stood a tall, lanky black figure that just seemed to stare down at him. The figure had no features. It was simply an opaque silhouette. I looked at the figure for a few seconds, trying to figure out what I was seeing. I remember saying, "Dad?" thinking maybe the figure was my father and my eyes were just messing with me. After I got no response, I was so fucking scared. I hurried up and finished my business, and when I went to leave the bathroom, I gave a quick glance in my brother's room, and the figure was no longer there. I'll stop now as I know other people are anxiously waiting to hear their stories just like I am. I can't wait to tell you more. This is only the beginning. Okay, first off, she folded this letter the most unique way I've ever seen. Can I even fold it back that way? Hang on. Can I? I can't even fold it back the way that she did. It was so neat. Everything was all like tucked in, like all precious and shit. Did I do it? I think I might have exit. That is absolutely chilling. I've heard so many stories that people have told where they've seen figures hovering above people in their sleep. I had a very like traumatizing sleep paralysis experience where something big and lanky and human-like, but like a big black figure was like hovering over me, and that creeps me out. Also, the fact that I have an issue with sticking my feet outside the covers because I'm pretty sure a monster is going to grab them every time. So I bet when you told your brother that you saw that at his feet, he freaked out. Do not ever sleep with your feet out of the covers. That is a number one thing. That's a number one safety rule. Tuck your feet in at night, kids, every time. Or a monster will get them. And then I literally grabbed like a Monster energy drink. So this story is going to be from Charlotte. She also sent over these really cute pieces of selenite that she said that I could use for myself or that I could do in a giveaway. So thank you so much. I love them. That was really thoughtful of you to think about me and to send me something like that, because you guys know I love that kind of stuff. And she also wrote a paranormal story, so I'm gonna go ahead and get into this letter. When I first subscribed to your channel, I never thought I'd have any stories to write to you. I've never experienced anything like what you did and some of your viewers have been through. I do believe in the paranormal, but I'm more of a skeptic. I mean, when anything weird happens around me, I try to explain it away. That's just the house settling, and oh, that old clock that hasn't worked in years started ticking for 5 seconds because I stomped by. Things like that. Recently though, I've had to start explaining away things a lot more, especially since I started exploring my spiritual path. I generally get to work before a lot of my coworkers. My office is in a little side hallway that I share with 5 other people. Despite being the only one there at this time, some days I can hear what sounds like an office chair squeaking down the hall from me, as if someone is rocking in it. At first, it wasn't a big deal. I just thought that it was the AC or a heater kicking in. Then I realized that I only ever hear the noise before normal business hours, never when any of my coworkers are in the hall. I got up from my desk a few times to try to investigate, but as soon as I step into the hallway, it stops. I never get that uneasy feeling anytime this happens, but I can't say the same about what I experienced this past 4th of July. My friends were out of town or otherwise unavailable for the holiday, so I was on my own for this year's 4th. I'm close to one of the lakes in the city, so I plan to roll my bike up to the dam to watch fireworks going off in the surrounding cities. Since it was already pretty dark by the time I left home, I had my lights on my bike. As luck would have it, once I got to the lake, the batteries died on me. There was no indication that they were about to die. There's a little light that flashes when the batteries are low, so I didn't think I needed to worry. I didn't think much of it, probably because I know I need to change plans since I could no longer reach the dam safely. This annoyed me. I stopped at one of the parks near the restaurants on the lake. It was close enough that I felt safe, but far enough away that the lights from the restaurants wouldn't interfere with my view of the night sky. There is no lighting in this park, and it's just off the water, making it the next best viewing spot for fireworks. As I got off my bike and walked into the park, I could see that the 2 nearby towns were setting theirs off. I was feeling better about my location and feeling pretty good. Riding my bike to the lake was a good idea. But when I turned to look towards the town north of the city, I noticed a figure on the other side of the park. It looked like a person, but not quite. At first I thought it was actually a tree in the water line, but then I noticed what looked to be the profile of a man's face. I distinctly recall seeing the shape of a forehead, nose, chin, and silhouette in the dim light. I didn't think much of it, but became hyper aware that I was alone with potentially some other person in the park after dark. Every so often I would glance their way just to make sure that they weren't coming my way. I couldn't make much out besides the head. Everything below that was featureless, almost fuzzy. I thought maybe I was being silly and that it was just a tree, because our brains are very good at picking out faces when there are none, so I thought that maybe that was it. But the body was more like a fuzzy, shifting mass than a rigid tree trunk. That was when I noticed that weird, eerie feeling. You know, that feeling. The person, or whatever it was, never made a motion towards me, so I tried to shrug it off, blaming it on being scared of being alone outside after dark. I straddled my bike in case it really was a person and I needed to make a quick getaway. Anyway, at that point, the finales for the surrounding towns were going off, but the cities hadn't even started. Since that was the main reason I rode to the lake, I hung around hoping that they'd hurry the hell up so that I could go home. That eerie feeling wasn't going away, and I was feeling more and more on edge. I was beginning to wonder if I would be able to see the city's fireworks from where I was standing when someone in the parking lot behind us started turning their lights on and off. They were pretty far from where I was, but the lights lit up the park and put a spotlight on me. It occurred to me that maybe the other person in the park didn't notice me, so I checked to make sure that they hadn't moved. I shit thee not, they were nowhere to be found. Not when the headlights lit up in the park, not when it darkened again, not when my eyes readjusted, not to the other side of me, not in front of me, and thankfully, not behind me. There was no trace of this person. It was like they were never there. It spooked me pretty damn good, so I decided to get the hell out and go home. Side note, my lights worked just fine the next day, but the low battery indicator was flashing. I still really don't know what that was. I have an idea, but maybe I've been making human-like shapes out of nothing, or maybe there was really another person in the park. Or maybe it was something paranormal. I don't know. Do ghosts like to watch fireworks too? Since then, I've had a few other strange experiences that I haven't really been able to explain, but this letter is already getting a little long. But anyway, if you and or your viewers have any ideas about what that was at the lake, I'd love to hear them. Thanks for reading my letter. Keep up the great work. I know I can speak for all of your viewers when I say that we love your content. Hope your move goes smoothly, and if you are ever in Oklahoma City, hit me up. First of all, and once again, thank you for the hourglass selenite. I think that is so awesome, and the fact that you're in Oklahoma City is pretty damn cool, because I do want to go do a paranormal investigation there. I don't know where yet, but I've been talking about it. I've been considering it. Why am I waving my hair in the wind like a kite? We may never know. I would probably be really creeped out about that too. I am always like more paranoid of people more than I am of anything spiritual, because people are really fucked up. But at the same time, I don't really know how something like that could just disappear. Like if you're in like an open park, you would see them leave, and the fact that they never moved, that's freaking creepy. And also, you have that feeling for a reason. If you guys ever are alone or you're anywhere where you could easily be harmed and you get an eerie, uncomfortable feeling, you should always go with that. Get in a crowded place, somewhere where there's people, just to be safe, because sometimes you get those feelings because of people. And literally, like if that was a person and you were getting that feeling, that scares me more than anything. If you guys have any suggestions for what that could be or anything to tell Charlotte, leave them down below. I know I normally read 4 to 5 stories, but I'm going to leave it at 2. I have been filming for 31 days of Halloween, so you guys know we got a lot of stuff coming out, so I don't have time to sit here and read more. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this episode anyway, and that it was interesting. This is my first paranormal episode in this Halloween 31 days of Halloween playlist. This is the first one that I've done. If you guys would like to see another paranormal episode for next Monday, make sure to let me know down in the comments, and I will definitely do that for you guys. I hope that you guys are having a spooky day or night, whatever it is where you are, and I will see you in my next video.